Oh, hello. No, that's bad. I ain't gonna do that. What is up, YouTube? We are back today with another video. Today we're gonna be tying up a Parachute Adams. Great dry fly for the upcoming season, so stick around, we'll be right back. Alright, sweet. So starting this fly off, alright, we got a size 14. This is honestly, I don't remember the brand. I got these a long time ago, but it's just a dry fly hook. For my thread, I'm going to be using a unithread. This is 6/0 tan, alright. Depends on what color scheme you want to go with, but I'm going to be using the tan for this today because it'll match pretty well. So I'm going to start off my thread about midway up the hook shank and bring it back. Alright, just about to the bend of the hook. Trim off my excess. And then I'll finish this out just like that. Alright, so what I like to do with my Parachute Adams is I like to put a tail on them. So for that, I'm going to be using Pheasant Tail. I'm going to cut off about 4 fibers or so, and then make sure they're all pretty much the same length. So I got this here, and when I go to tie this in, I want it about a hook shank length. So just pinch wrap this on, hold it in place, just like so. And then I'll bring my thread forward on the bottom side and start to build up a little bit of a body here. And then much like a pheasant tail or something like that, now that our tail is secured, we're going to wrap this. So when I'm wrapping a body, I like to put just a little bit of head cement on here. You don't want it too much. And this head cement is a little bit old, so it's starting to thread when you pull it, which isn't cool, but it'll work. Right to just about where I finished with the thread, and then I'll lock this in place. Try to hold on to your feathers before you, or until you're done locking them in place, because they can spread apart and make the body look a little weird. Trim this off, and then I'll just close off that body, make sure everything's nice and flat. Alright, now the next part in this fly is to tie on a post. You can use a lot of different materials for a post. You can use different feathers for actually creating a wing-like post, or you can just use regular yarn. With this fly, I'm going to create a post by simply using some feathers. I'm going to be using basically the down feathers of this saddle that I got. So I'll just be cutting off a little bit of this and using it as my post. So this is just a little bit of that down. Typically I don't like to cut feathers like this and use them, but because this is a down feather, it doesn't have much of a stem. So it'll be just fine for a post. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and then I'm going to tie this in facing back. So I'm just going to set it here and do a pinch wrap over that to hold it in place. And then I'm going to trim up around the eye of my hook so I don't cover that up. Alright, now that we got this tied in a little bit, I want to bring it forward, and then I'm going to start putting back wraps on this just to help keep it secured in front. I'm going to remove my fly, and I'm going to put it perpendicular up this way so I can actually wrap my post. And with this, you don't want to wrap it super hard because it is going to pull off whichever direction you want, or you're pulling your thread. So try to wrap it gently until it's sturdy enough to where you're not going to just lose wraps. All right, now that we've got it straight, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start wrapping around and then come back to the same side, go back around, go to the same side, back around, same side. This is just going to help lock that post in place so it doesn't want to push off to one side or the other. I like to just dub this. I'm just going to take a little bit of dubbing here and then dub my line just to give it a little bit of a body up here. Baby's mad. I don't know if you guys can hear her, but she is not happy. All right, dubbing that up, and then I'll just start back here where my pheasant tail ended and wrap up and past my loop as well, or past my post. Now that we got that, we're going to start tying in our hackle. So for this, I'm just going to be using some rooster hackles. I got these at Sportsman's Warehouse, so they're not the best quality, but I'm just going to try to get one that's super thin and then use that for my hackle for the post. We're going to take this hackle that we cut and we're going to tie it in right up here, tying it back and then going over, bringing that back, throw a half hitch in, and then we're actually going to trim our thread off. We're going to head cement that end so it doesn't go anywhere. Let's put a little head cement on there. And then we'll trim off any excess. A little bit of dubbing there. And now we're going to move our fly back to when we were building our post. Just flat up and down, just like so. And then we're going to restart our thread on our post. So I'm going to take this guy, get my hackle out of the way, and restart my thread down here. Run it up a little bit, give myself a little bit more thread, and bring it back down. Making sure that's not going to go anywhere. Then we'll trim off our thread. Now we're going to take our hackle and pull it up onto our post and start wrapping that on there. Just like so. And then we'll bring our thread back down. Cool. Now we're going to whip finish once so that our thread stays put. Twice. We'll go 2 times, that's fine. You just don't want your thread to move. So we'll go there. And now we can start actually rotating this. If you have hackle pliers, this helps a lot in this instance, just for keeping it even. So I'm going to bring my hackle pliers up, put that on the very end. And now try your best to rotate those hackles on there even, all the way down that post. Once you get down to the end, you can take your thread and then lock this hackle in place. Try not to trap any fibers under there because it makes it look a little weird. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but it's nicer if it's not stuck. And then that hackle actually came off when I pulled it, so that's all right. We're just going to run a couple more wraps on this so that it definitely stays put. Trying to keep all those fibers up. And then we'll whip finish. We'll trim off our thread. And then we'll pretty much be done with this fly. We're just going to bring it back flat check everything, make sure it's good. I'll trim this up a little bit down here because I did catch a couple fibers. That's okay. All right. Sweet, so we got our hackle on there and everything. Now, the last part, and probably the most satisfying, is to trim our post. So I want to go about, there's no real measurement that I prefer, but like a hook shank length from the hook itself is pretty good. So I'm just going to grab this, trim these guys off so that that post stays just like that. Alright, so that is a Parachute Adams dry fly. These work super well. One of my favorite dry flies to throw in the summertime. Alright guys, quick note for you. If you don't season your dry flies before you get to the water, that's okay, and they'll still float and still do great things when it comes to catching fish. But something to help with keeping them on the surface better is using some dry fly silicone or something like that. This is the stuff I use, and I really like how it does. Basically, all you do is you just drop that fly in the top cell here, and then get that fly well saturated with all that silicone and let it dry, and then it will float a whole lot better when it comes to actually getting on the water. And if you have any like dry fly oil or anything like that, that dry fly oil works super well with this silicone as well. So check it out if you haven't already. But for right now, thanks you guys for watching the video. I wish you guys tight lines, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.